terminal blocks. This is section B, the second of 10 sections. This one covers terminal blocks, DIN rail, and terminal screwdrivers. Yeah, I was trying not to say but I've already said it twice now. So, doesn't really matter what order we come in. Here's some terminal block screwdrivers, right? Here's a Weehaw. Weehaw. Okay, and then there's a Phoenix Contact and a Vera and another Phoenix Contact. But what you need to kind of notice is these are kind of long, flat. See this? See the profile of this? They're slightly different sizes, but they're the same, like, it's flat for a lot longer than you're used to. And that's because these are terminal screwdrivers. And terminal screwdrivers are meant for terminals. And so there's different kinds of terminals, and I'll get into that. But here's, you know, this piece right here is a piece of DIN rail. The typical size of a DIN rail is 35 millimeters. And then what varies is the depth. So this can be 7.5 or 15. This one's 7.5. So this is a normal piece of DIN rail. Kind of looks like that on its profile. This one's made of aluminum. They can be made of steel, aluminum. Usually those two. So this kind that I'm, you know, looking at here is something called push-in. So in order to open and close the clamps, you actually have to push the individual pieces. This is a lever type. So I will... These are interesting. Here, let me... These dividers are nice because you can take them off so we can see what's going on here. So let's look at the side profile here. So the idea here is that the first two on the left, right, those are hooked together. So if you put one on one terminal and one on the other, so see there's two terminals here, you will connect the top and the bottom terminal together. So if you, yeah. But you could have individual terminals hooked up to these three sections. And this is actually really normal for sensors to have green for ground. So you could ground all of these, but you basically, what you could do is put jumpers and like connect all these together. But and then you could have brown and blue, and actually those are like the European colors for plus and minus. So typically brown is actually your plus 24 volt DC, and blue, which is opposite from the US, and that sucks. But the blue is actually your DC common, and then your brown is your power. Blue can also be your neutral, but anyway, this is a normal terminal block set that you would get if you're trying to hook up a bunch of sensor terminals. And these are terminal block labels, and so these have, you know, wire numbers that you would be able to find in the drawings. The 13041 would mean go to page 13 and look at line number 41. 12311 would be go to page 12 and find line number 311, so forth. And you do have to get a special printer to print on those, and you have to buy the individual labels yourself and print them out. But and then these don't have the jumpers in them right now. They would actually go into this set of teeth here. But for actuating, let's look at that. So this is a spring clamp. And so the idea here, let's see if I can make this easier to look. The idea here is that I'm opening this, and there's actually a hole. So see how I stuck the screwdriver in there? So that would actually grab. So, you know, it would actually in here. See how now all of the teeth are closed except that one? And then if I pull it out, it's closed. So there's a spring in here. So you're opening and closing a spring in order to grab the wire. That's different from here where it's still a spring, but you're now pushing these orange blocks down to do the same thing that you would normally be doing with your screwdriver. And then the other kind, and I mean there's more than this many kinds, but then there's just your normal screw. So, like this. So you literally have to screw both sides in to connect your wire. So you still, you know, put your wire in the hole. So this time's on the top and the bottom. So you bring your wire in down there, and then you screw this thing to tighten it up onto the wire. So that's how you're pinching it. You're pinching it with a screw. So screw driven versus driven by clamps, spring clamps, versus driven by you know, this push-in technology, which is like the clamp, but now it's like you don't have to have this really specific screwdriver, and you don't have to work so hard, because this thing just pushes this piece of plastic down. Here, I'll show you. To do the same actuation. Shazam. There we go. And so what we're doing is pushing so that this metal clamp